Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news as we assess the fallout and the step forward, because that's basically what we are. We're going to be talking about lots of things on the show this morning. I'm hoping you're all buzzing, but I'm hoping you're all ready for the next step, because there is no time to... Well, there's just no time at all with Manchester United at the moment to reflect and enjoy, because we just enjoy the next step. And we've got the live Europa League draw coming up for you at 11 o'clock. We'll talk about whom we want from that. We've got press conference from Ten Hag for the final, which is in 2 days, coming up at lunchtime. And, you know, concerns around injuries with Marcus Rashford. Absolutely loads to get into, and I think, you know, that's the sign of a big club, is that you just move on. And it's interesting, we had a poll on the community tab this morning about how many trophies do you think Manchester United are going to win. 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Remember, we can win 4: the CARABAO Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League and the Premier League. I mean, that would be, I nearly said biblical. We're not going to get religious on a Friday morning, but it would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely incredible. But look, I think that world class is I wanted to just get this out at the start. That's what she said. No, I did want to get it out at the start, because I think we get lost in the news sometimes, and I feel that world class is a term that gets thrown out willy-nilly. And I think that I've always said, if you've been a watcher of the channel for a long time, I don't use the word world class very often, because I think it should be for a select few. I think if you hand it around to everybody, I mean, I hear people say James Maddison's world class. You're having a bloody laugh. You know, I hear people say, you know, Saka's world class. I think he can be. I hear people say things like, you know, Victor Lindelof at times has been world class. I mean, he's not. And I think that for me, world class means something very, very small in relation to not many people get into that group. I think at the moment right now, we have a situation whereby we have got Manchester United in a situation whereby we have a number of world-class players. And I think that's where we're at. Can I just check? I don't know whether I'm even live here. How long have I been live for? Because I get the feeling I might have only just started going live, and I'm meant to have been live for 3 minutes. So I don't know. People are coming out some weird stuff in the chat. Casimiro's world class, says Nick. Yeah, we are live. Great. Good. Yeah, good. We have been live for 2.5 minutes. Thanks, Divya. I just could see people saying on about Beth and stuff, and I'm like, she's not on the bloody show. And then people were saying, I hope it's Mark. And I'm like, I've been live for 2.5 minutes. I'm definitely not Beth. Anyway, you'll see Beth a little bit later on, because we've got the draw coming up straight after this show. However, world class is a term that gets thrown about a lot, and I think in Erik Ten Hag we've got a manager that is world class. I think we can safely say that Erik Ten Hag is a world class manager. This isn't a guy that's popped off the Christmas tree to manage Manchester United. This is a guy that's won titles with Ajax. He's took Ajax to a Champions League final. He's produced world class players, and I thought that Dion was brilliant last night. By the way, I've heard that Ten Hag said that Fred's job was to man mark Frenkie de Jong, and he did it. Well, if that's man marking Frenkie de Jong out of the game, God knows what he's like on a good game. Because I thought that Frenkie de Jong looked really good last night, and credit to Fred for the job he did, because I thought Frenkie de Jong was brilliant, and obviously he was a product of Ten Hag at Ajax. But I digress. I think Erik Ten Hag is a wonderful manager. I think he is world class. I think he's arguably one of the best managers in Europe at the moment. Much the same as Marcus Rashford's one of the best players in Europe at the moment. Like, it doesn't mean he's the best manager in Europe. It just, right now, there's not many managers doing what he's done in the amount of trophies. And Arteta's doing a great job at Arsenal. There's no doubting the quality of a Pep Guardiola or an Ancelotti. But right here, right now, you can be in form as a manager like you can be in form as a player. Right here, right now, I can't think of a manager, apart from maybe the Napoli manager, that's in such great form for so long a time. Absolutely incredible what he's doing. World class. And, you know, there's not really anything going on about the bids today, but I'm sat there last night, and I'm sure you are as well, and there's a smile on my face, and I'm thinking, the Glazers better not bloody stay. You know, the Glazers will be sat there last night, rubbing their hands together, going, look at the crowd, look at the team, look at the manager, look at the positivity, look at the emails we're getting from brands who want to sponsor us. Why would we leave? I don't think that's going to happen, by the way, but I can understand people being concerned about that. But to spin that into a positive, imagine Erik Ten Hag with the Qatar bid or something similar. And what I mean by that is we're not pro Qatar bid or an anti Qatar bid. What I'm saying is I firmly believe United have been destroyed over 17 years with debts and dividends and not being able to freely be the club they should be. The next step for me should be, for United, should be huge wealth to make up for the last 17 years. And it's scary what we can achieve with this manager, this coaching setup, this set of players, and basically replicating what we've got in the manager above him, in the director of football, in the boardroom, and in the ownership. I think it's scary what Manchester United could achieve with this manager, and I think it's a real opportunity. We may not have any say in it, but I'm hoping that we are going to give Erik ten Hag what Pep's got, what Real Madrid have, what Newcastle are going to have. I want Pep Guardiola. It's not about a cheat code. The ship sailed a long time on the morality of giving Man City, a FIFA cheat code. Like they've had it for 11, 12, 13 years. I'm not interested in people saying, United would have a cheat code if they were bought by Qatar. Well, maybe you should have been moaning about that for the last decade. It's because somebody else has had it. This is about a level playing field. It's not about an advantage. It's about giving Ten Hag a level playing field. And if Pep Guardiola is chucking 100 million on Grealish and 180 million packages on Haaland, well, I'm sorry. Give Ten Hag the same and let's see what happens. And that's what I was thinking that last night after the match, and after I was chilling out, I was like, this is brilliant what Erik ten Hag is doing. He's proven that he's up there. He's world class at the moment as a manager. Now let's give him what Pep's got, and then the fun really starts. Let's see what happens then, because I think I don't know whether he'd be stoppable. I think it would be absolutely incredible. Takeover news, and do you think Glazers will sell, says Wazim? Not really any takeover news this morning. If Arteta doesn't win the league, Ten Hag deserves to be manager of the season, says Zane. And imagine how good we will be in about a year from now when Ten Hag has got his even more possession base, says Lucas. Yeah, but I would say about that, Lucas, that really depends on who's in charge in a year's time. Because if we're playing moral crusaders and we're just living off our revenue, he will struggle. If we've got the Glazers, he'll really struggle. If we give him the ownership that I think most people want, I think this is when the future starts. And I think last night against Barcelona will be, those two games against Barcelona, if we go on to great success, we'll look back at those two games and go, you know what, that was incredible. But look, we've got to get this right ownership model, of course we have. I think that I just think it's exciting where we can go. A lot of people talking about the Carabao Cup Rashford updates. There is a Rashford update. He was hobbling a bit last night. He played on after the connection with, I think it was Araujo, wasn't it? He did play on a little bit. He was hobbling out of the ground. Obviously, we had Adam and Ryan at the ground, and they were doing after match stuff. Ten Hag's not spoken about it in the post-match press conference. He'd probably be asked about it at lunchtime because that is a proper press conference, not pre-recorded. That's because it's a cup final. I personally will give you a little bit of an idea. I think that Rashford will play in the final. I don't think he's going to want to miss Man United's first chance of a trophy in 5 years. I think he will play and not play against West Ham, if that's the case, and have a full week's rest. Unless he's properly injured. And I don't sense that he was, because he played on for a few minutes and he didn't go straight down the tunnel. He went and sat on the bench. So I don't think Rashford's injury is going to be significant. Touch wood, fingers crossed, I don't think it will. It's a concern. A few people are saying that, he was hobbling and stuff, but, he didn't. It's always a good sign when they don't come off straight away or they don't go straight down the tunnel. So, they've got experts on the side of the pitch there who come on and assess injuries all the time, and they didn't feel the need that he needed to go straight down the tunnel or straight off the pitch. So I feel it was probably just it looked like it was an impact injury, and an impact injury might just be bruising and stuff like that. He'll be able to play with that. He'd be a bit sore, but most players are playing with some knocks anyway. You're hardly ever fully fit. I'm asking if a player to break their contract, so we should sign him for free. It wouldn't break financial fair rules. I don't know what you're talking about, Mohammed. I read that 3 times before I read it out loud. I do not know what you're talking about. What player's going to break their contract to not break financial fair play? I don't know. I don't know what you're on about, Mohammed. Imagine how good we will be in about a year. I've done that one from Lucas. Yeah, I thought it was precautionary as well, Ty. I really did, and I think that's. It's a cup final. I mean, if you're playing If you're playing Newcastle at home in the Premier League, maybe he misses the game because he's a bit sore. But this is a cup final. I'm pretty confident that Marcus Rashford will play. If Qatar takes over, who do you think Ten Hag's dream signing is, and who's yours to Space? I'm not really thinking about it at the moment. I think there's a lot of people getting excited, and different levels of excitement lead to different things. That's why there's so many categories on certain websites. But my level of excitement is as high as anybody else's at the moment. But my focus is actually on the draw at 11 o'clock on Sunday in the Carabao Cup final. I was looking at it, and I think I'm right. This is going to get you excited. I think I'm right in saying this, that... let me just check. So, I mean, we talk about world class, like I say, and Zane was saying there, if Arteta doesn't win the league, then Erik Ten Hag deserves Manager of the Year. I'm not taking anything away from Arteta. If they win the league, it's unbelievable. You've got to give him Manager of the Year. Of course you have. But can I just say, where do you draw the line? Like, Erik Ten Hag has taken on a terrible United side. Yes, he's had a bit of money, but 5 players to come into a shit side that was performing terribly. Not only, it's not the 5 players that have turned us around. I mean, Casimiro, Martinez have been very important. Anthony's, still bedding in. Malacia is on the bench, and Eriksen's injured. So it's not just new signings. He's rejuvenated the Rashfords, the Delos, the Freds, the Brunos, even the De Geas and the Lindelofs and people like that. Luke Shaw. He's developed players that were underperforming last year, and that's remarkable. That's unbelievable. But on top of that, since December the 27th, when we played Forest, we've played a game every 3.5 days in 4 tournaments. And now we're in a title race. We've knocked Barcelona out. We're in a cup final. And we're still in the FA Cup. And we've still got to play a game every 3.5 days. And we've had injuries. And he didn't get back in January. The list is endless as to how this manager has done this. And I said it last night. His ability to just change things and not be stubborn about it is remarkable. But look, we've just played Barcelona Thursday night. Sunday afternoon, we're going to play in the Carabao Cup. Next Wednesday, we're playing in the FA Cup against West Ham. Next Sunday, we're going to play Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. On the Thursday, we will play whoever we're going to get drawn against today. Then we're going to play Southampton on the Saturday, which will get moved to the Sunday. And then we'll play midweek again in the Europa League, and then we'll play Brighton. And then it's the international break on Sunday the 19th of March. So effectively, we will be playing 3.5 days until the end of March from Christmas. It's absolutely unbelievable. Andrew says, I was at the game last night. Varane was brilliant, getting the crowd going at the end with Martinez and Casimiro. Love the passion from the team. And what's scary is the fact that the Glazers will see what Ten Hag is able to do with the transfer window equalled Weghorst and turn it into silverware, says Matthias. Welcome to the Members Club, John O'Brien. Look, I don't think the Glazers are going to stay because they need money. But if they had the money, they wouldn't sell because they think they've got another Sir Alex, and they might. They might. You know what? I don't like saying this. I don't like the whole, give him time, we're back in 1989. I don't like all that. But there are massive similarities. Sir Alex Ferguson had nothing to do with Man United. He'd never played for us. He'd never managed us. He'd never coached us. Nothing like that. He came down from Aberdeen, having been successful in the Scottish League, and took over Man United and rebuilt it and created a new United way that was in keeping with United's history. Erik Ten Hag has come from Ajax, where he's very successful, with no touch point on Manchester United, never played for Manchester United, never coached Manchester United, comes to Manchester United, and in a very short period of time is creating a new United way that could be a dynasty. There are similarities there. And the Glazers loved Sir Alex Ferguson because he was so good, he could win things without the investment that really was needed. So, look, of course, the Glazers will look at that and go, there might be another 17 years here with Ten Hag. But, everyone else has got... they also need investment. And, we can't have that. Glennie says, can we spare a thought for a European lad? We won while Ajax went out of Europe and are not top of their league. Still want Timber, though, says Glennie. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, well, we'll talk about who we can get in the Europa League in a minute. But there's a few things I want to talk about first. Just going back to that. So, yeah, we're going to play a game every 3.5 days now until March the 19th, which means we've been playing a game every 3.5 days since December the 27th until the end of March and the international break. Remarkable. And we've won nearly all of those games. So it's absolutely incredible what we've done. And, at some point, how many trophies do you think we're going to win? I'm going to pluck 2 out the air. I do think we'll win the Carabao Cup on Sunday. And I think we'll find a way to win another one. Sean Turner says, I truly believe we win the cup this Sunday. Team will go unbeaten for the rest of the season. There's something in the air, says Sean. I'd love it. I love it. And there are still salty Barca fans in the chat. Jog on. See you next year. Eric Ten Hag, 72% win rate. He needs promoting to Eric 12 Hag, says PQ. And hi, Mark. If we will be owned by rich owner, how will the financial fair play affect us? Or can we simply buy some players, says Matthews? No, financial fair play will exist. You can't just go out and buy players. You can't just go out and buy players. Like, you've got to... we'll have to be careful, but I think proper ownership will increase the revenue anyway, which we can balance against financial fair play. I mean, it's a video in itself, really, but we'll be fine. Just reminded myself, by the way, Man United play a game every 3.5 days until March the 19th, which is Brighton, and then it's the international break. Don't forget, March the 19th is a Sunday. March the 20th and 21st, we're doing United Stand Live in Dublin. Sold out. You can't go to that. Hotels booked. Can't wait. Brilliant. It's going to be superb. Can't wait to see you there. But we have got tickets for Manchester on the 23rd, which is a Thursday. Yeah, I think it's a Thursday. And we've got London the following week. So get your tickets. I've dropped the link in the video description and in the live chat. Be good to see you there. We're not far away from it now. Three weeks on Monday. So I've started putting together the show. It's going to be good. Basically, it's going to be, on a Friday night, when I've had a couple of drinks, it's going to be that sort of vibe in a live audience interaction. So get yourself a ticket. It's going to be great. United Stand, live show, Manchester and London. We've still got tickets. Get them while you can. Lloyd Jones is in the chat. He's a legend with his red pants. He says, we're back on and in the Stretford End last night. Old Trafford was unbelievable and bouncing. Who do we want in the Europa League, by the way? Just as an aside, we will be live straight after this. We're going to go straight from this stream into the draw stream because the draw is live at 11 o'clock this morning. I think some people are getting a little bit confused. The Europa League draw for me is interesting, but on the other hand, it's also confusing people because they're like, who can we get? We can't play Arsenal because it's a seeded draw, so that can't happen. We can't play Juventus, we can't play Roma, we can't play Sevilla, but we can play Real Sociedad. Even though they were in our group, we can play Sociedad. So who do you want Manchester United to get in the Europa League? Now, while you're thinking about that, and I'll read some of your comments out, let me just say this. We are the favourites with the bookies to win it now. Manchester United are the favourites to win the Europa League. Dylan wants Feyenoord. I'll tell you the teams we can get. The teams we can get are a lot of Fs. There's 4 Fs we can get. Fenerbahce, Ferencváros, Feyenoord, Freiburg, Betis, Sociedad, and Union in the next round. Now, Union are quite good. I think they're doing quite well in the Bundesliga at the moment. Sociedad we've played before. Betis, I don't really care. I mean, part of me says give us the easiest one. So probably Ferencváros. I can't pronounce their name. I'd rather have the easiest draw. But to be honest with you, nobody's going to be as hard as Barcelona in that tournament now, apart from Arsenal. Like, we've probably played the hardest team in the tournament in Barcelona. So Union Berlin are the underdog story. But I don't know whether that... I think it might be... that's the Union... Yeah, but that's not who... We can't play them. It's not Union Berlin. That's Union from Belgium, which I haven't done my research. So, yeah, I can see the... You know what? To be honest with you, it's probably... In light of the volume of games we've been playing recently, we could... And having played Barcelona, it's probably not a bad idea if we get drawn out against somebody very easy in the next round, because it's not even the quarterfinals the next round. So really, do we really want to be playing somebody really difficult? We probably could do with just getting an easier draw. And I'm not saying we'd win that easier draw. I'm just saying we could probably do with an easier draw in light of the volume of games we've been playing recently. But on top of that, bring it on. And the bookies have got Man United and Arsenal as very firm favourites to win this tournament. And remember what I said last night, you're talking about 7 games to do that. It would take 7 games to go and win this now. The next round's 2, the quarterfinals 2, the semi-finals 2, and then a final. So still 7 more games to win it. And we're still in the FA Cup. And we're still in a title race, apparently. The games are just coming thick and fast, aren't they? And somebody was saying after the game yesterday that Harry Maguire didn't look happy. I didn't see Harry Maguire at all. I didn't see the camera go to Harry Maguire once, so I don't know about that. But I was thinking about it in the shower this morning, and not like that. And not Harry Maguire, no, but certainly not. But, like, you know, jokes aside, I was thinking about it in the shower this morning, and I thought, well, I get why you'd be a little bit disappointed because you want to play. But I also think you're part of something really special, and I don't think he would have been. I think privately you're disappointed. Any competitive sports person, I've been on the bench, I hated it. Even though my team was doing well, I hated being on the bench. I'd had an injury. Wasn't really fully fit to play at the semi-final, wanted to play, the doctor had said you shouldn't play at all because it was shin splints, but I knew I could play for about 40 minutes before they would start hurting, so I couldn't start, and basically I didn't get brought on, and I was gutted, and we won, and we got to the final, and I played in the final, but I hated it. I hated not playing anyway, and I hated not playing when I felt I should have been playing, so but your team wins, and you know you are conflicted. You're like, this is great that we're winning because hopefully I can play in the final. So you want to win, but you also want to be out there. I don't think any professional footballer is happy to sit on the bench, and if they are, then they're probably not got the mentality you want. But is it not an indicator of where we are and why we are where we are? I mean, I mentioned it on the match reaction last night. Casimiro, Varane, and Martinez. Those three players just give me confidence in every game. We've got the Carabao Cup final on Sunday, of course, but we're going to Anfield a week on Sunday. And again, I'm like, we've been to the new camp and I wasn't scared. Why would I be scared about going to Anfield? And I normally am scared about going to Anfield, but I think, and I know it's a while off, but Anfield is always a game that worries me because there are big rivals. You know, it's a big atmosphere, and you're worried. You don't want to get beat. But this time round, we might get beat, but I'm going to go there and go, I fancy us, because I just think Varane and Martinez and Casimiro are so bloody good. Qatar is making club debt free, reduces interest expense on the income statement, freeing up financial fair play capacity to buy players, add more sponsors, and we're on it, says Mo. Thank you very much for that. But, you know, I mentioned, you know, what Ten Hag is doing at the moment, and I like a Goldbridge hot take, you know. I like your hot takes as well. I like to read those out. But I did say at half-time last night we would win. And I did say when Anthony came on, he was going to score. Don't always get it right. I did. One thing I also got right, and I've been ridiculed for this, is I've been saying for most of the season, Varane's the best centre-back in the league. And people actually have clipped me up and laughed at me about this. And I'm not even reacting. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's one of the best centre-backs in the last 20 years. Like, he's an unbelievable centre-back, and he proved that for France and Real Madrid. But it was almost a controversial take to say that Varane is the best centre-back in the league. Like, people with their chest were saying, no, Van Dijk, Saliba, you know, Thiago Silva, John Stones. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. He's absolutely world-class. And he was world-class before he came here. We can't claim him as we've not made him world-class. He was already world-class. And people think because he's put a United shirt on and he had a bad first season with injury, he's suddenly passed it. I watched Man United, you watched Man United. Those two games in the new camp, where Martinez didn't even play, by the way, he was playing with Luke Shaw, and last night, flawless. Absolutely flawless centre-back performance. And not just flawless, aggressive, proactive, you know, absolutely. I'm telling you now, there isn't a better centre-back in the league than him at the moment because he's done it all season. I thought Saliba's been brilliant, but I think recently he's looked a bit shaky. He's a young lad. Thiago Silva's been brilliant, but he's playing in a Chelsea side that's, you know, and he doesn't always play. Diaz, forget about it. Van Dijk, forget about it. Stones, forget about it. I really do think that the only competitor with Varane for best centre-back in the league probably would be Saliba and the guy who plays next to him, which is Martinez. I think he's I don't know why he's so underrated. I don't get it. You know, he's never really had the credit that he deserves. I mean, I talk about him a lot and a few of you do, but he's just incredible. He's absolutely incredible. I mean, we even had a media that spent 6 months talking about why Maguire's not playing instead of Varane. I mean, it's laughable. That's how underrated Varane is by so-called experts. They just never talk about it. And he's world class, absolutely world class. And he was brilliant in the Nou Camp, and he was brilliant last night. Casimiro is world class. The manager is world class. Rashford is playing in form that is world class. Martinez is on a fast track to being world class. I mean, I'm throwing the name world class around like confetti, and I'm not that person. I don't do that. But to be honest with you, what other word is there? I would fancy Man United at the moment to play any team in Europe and give them a game of football. Real Madrid, well, Barcelona are the best team in La Liga at the moment. Bring Real Madrid on. I think they might beat us. They're bloody good, but I'd fancy it. I'd fancy it. Man City, we've played them. Bayern Munich, I'd fancy it. I'm not saying we beat them, but I'd fancy it. I felt that last night's game between Man United and Barcelona was false advertising. It was a brilliant game over 2 legs that didn't belong in the Europa League qualifier round. It belonged in the Champions League. And that's where we'll hopefully see them again. But some Man United players at the moment, they have to be world class as well. The form is world class. You can't play a game every 3.5 days like they are and be still in 4 tournaments. It's unbelievable. It really is. Last year, Eintracht Frankfurt knocked Barcelona out in the Europa qualifier and won it. There you go. Thank you very much, Godwin. If you had the opportunity to get Sir Alex back, would you? No, the bad gamer. Let him enjoy his retirement. Mark, did you watch the All or Nothing with Spurs? I'd love them to do a United series, says Daniel. And Bruno Fernandes, what a guy. Captain, my captain, says Clayton. Exactly. Liquid One as well. Thank you very much for that. Make sure you... thank you very much for becoming a member. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. Also, I'm not finished yet. There's loads to go through. But also, we've got... It went out at 7 o'clock this morning because we've just got so much content at the moment. Obviously, Adam interviewed Weghorst last night, which was a nice insight to him and his ability to just, put a shift in for the team. But we put it out this morning, an interview with Anthony, ahead of the Carabao Cup final. So if you've not seen it on the homepage, we've got an interview with Anthony. Doesn't actually speak English, so we had to have an interpreter, and we've put up the subtitles, and then we've got English translation for you as well. But a very well-timed interview with Anthony, and that was with Adam this morning. So check it out. It'll get you right in the mood after his goal last night. Brilliant interview, really, 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 really well worth a listen to Anthony. Who, I did a lot of thinking last night. I think I was buzzing so much. I was thinking about this last night, and I was thinking, I lived through the era we did collectively of negativity. Yeah, I contributed, you contributed, and it was totally correct. There was a lot of negativity around this club, from Moyes to Van Gaal to Mourinho to Solskjaer. That's a lot of years, and that's a lot of negativity, and it was justified. Some of these players weren't good enough. Some of these managers weren't good enough. Some of the decisions made by management and the board were not good enough. There was a lot of complaints from Man United fans, and there was a lot of negativity. What I've enjoyed about this community pretty much since Ten Hag walked through the door, pretty much since Ten Hag got the job in April, it's just been a roller coaster of positivity. There's not been a lot of negativity, and I think that I do notice bits, this De Gea cult, which is weird, the Garnacho thing a few weeks ago, which I found shocking, people attacking an 18-year-old. Anthony's had it a little bit, but there's not a lot of it because there's a lot of positivity. And I remember saying about this United side for years, I don't trust them. I don't think they're capable of going on a 3-month run of good results. I think they're capable of doing the odd result where they win, but they're not trustworthy. You can't trust these set of players. They're bottlers. And I said that for years. Look at what we're doing. We're on a run of 3 months of consistently good performances. They're not bottling it. They can have a bad first half and be brilliant in the second half. That's down to Ten Hag. Also, it's down to the players because he's found something in them that I don't think many of us thought existed, and it's absolutely fantastic. But I was thinking about this morning, and I was like, Anthony, I saw people saying, sit down haters, and I'm like, I have seen people in the media, but they're idiots. They're the same people who had a pop at Martinez. They're idiots. They haven't got a bloody clue. They're paid to be pundits. They're paid to be specialists, and they're dictated to by, the butterflies flying around their heads. They just grab a crap take and talk about it. But there were a minority of fans who've not taken to Anthony. And, I think that minority still does exist. But I just think it's stubbornness, really. I do. I think you can't tell people what to think, and I think you're always going to get certain people. There's still people out there that don't like Rashford. There's still people out there that don't like Bruno. There's still people out there that don't like De Gea. There's still people out there that don't rate Dalot. There's still people out there that, you know, don't like Antony. I find that odd, because ultimately, what's this player FC bollocks anyway? I mean, the team came out last night and I was like, I probably would have made 2 changes. I wouldn't have started Weghorst, and I probably would have started Sabitzer. But at no point was I like frustrated by it. I was like, I can see what he's doing. And the great thing is, he'll change it if it doesn't work anyway. And lo and behold, he did. I just think we're on this roller coaster of, well, a roller coaster can go up and down, but I think at the moment we're just going up. And it's great. It's great. And we're not seeing this, you know, negativity around player agenda or things like that. And I think Antony symbolises that, because I just never understood what the issue was with Antony. I mean, yes, he's been disappointing at times, but it's his first season. Ten Hag bought him. Ten Hag spent 2 years with him at Ajax. Like, this is not a player that's going to flop under this manager. He will get the best out of him. The price tag, I get it. That's not his fault. He may never be a £70 million player, let alone an £85 million player. But for me, Antony was just a player that we needed, who fills a role that nobody does. He's a left-footed right winger, and we don't have that. And the balance he brings to the team is really important, and we saw that in the first few minutes. Barcelona couldn't deal with Man United in the second half, and that wasn't just because we took Weghorst off and put Rashford up front, who was quick. I thought they dealt with Rashford reasonably well. It was the way we changed the team. Bruno at 10 started to occupy their defensive midfielders. Antony started to really occupy their left-back, who'd had free run in the first half, and that provided a balance to our attack. And suddenly Barcelona weren't comfortable, and we got at them. Well, that doesn't happen if you haven't got a player like Antony coming on, and obviously he scored as well. I hope we get Fenerbahce great against Turkish teams, says Curtis. And Francesco said, would the improvements we've seen under Ten Hag have been hindered if Ralph Rangnick had stayed? I don't know. Did we secretly buy another player called Aaron Wan-Bissaka? The lad is unreal at the moment and a great rival for Diego Dalot. Could get an England call-up at this rate. So smart. I mean, you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Wan-Bissaka was up for sale in the summer and nobody would take him. Wan-Bissaka was up for sale and certainly going to go on loan in January, and there was clubs lining up to take him. And now he's a player that's doing absolutely magnificent for Manchester United, and you sort of find yourself saying, who is the best right back at Manchester United? And I mean, that's a debate in itself, but more importantly, it's also it's the improvement of a player. That's the thing for me. You know, who is the best right back? Is it Dalot? Is it Wan-Bissaka? I almost don't want to answer that, because I normally would say Dalot, but it's disrespectful to Wan-Bissaka. I think they've got to have a straight fight. And at times this season, we've seen that with Malacia and Luke Shaw. And yes, Luke Shaw has come through as the best left back. There's no doubt about that. But the fight was there at one point, and it's going on again, isn't it? But Wan-Bissaka's improvement is remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. Are you staying live for the draw, says Ben? We've got a live stream straight after this. So the draw is at 11 o'clock. I'll finish this at about quarter to 11, and then we'll push you over onto the live draw, which Beth's going to do with you at 11 o'clock. And then we've got the press conference reaction, which I'll do a little bit later, probably about 1:30. And then we've got the preview, which I'll do at about 8 o'clock tonight. So there's loads going on, and the Antony interview. So we will be covering the draw for you. Remember, Manchester United cannot draw Arsenal or Roma. That can't happen. 4 Fs, basically. We can pull out Ferencváros, Fenerbahce, Feyenoord, Freiburg, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, and Union SG, which is Belgian. So we could get a nice, comfortable... We should beat any of those anyway, but there are some tougher ones than not in there. But we are the favourites to win the tournament with the bookies. So important that we beat Newcastle at the weekend as well. Beat Newcastle at the weekend, and then I think that the way I think it will go, and it's so easy to underestimate Ten Hag. I mean, I saw a clip of me when we got the draw for the Barcelona game, and I was like, if we get knocked out, it might be quite a good thing, because I think it's impossible to, win the Europa League and get top 4 with this squad. It's not impossible. Ten Hag's doing the impossible. Like, any prediction we had about injuries and fatigue was correct, but it's not derailing us because Ten Hag's a bloody genius. The way I think this season will go at the moment, and it's mightily hard to predict, I don't know what you think, but I think we'll win the Carabao Cup on Sunday. I think we'll get top 4, and I think we'll win the Europa League. And I think the FA Cup, at some point, we're going to get knocked out of that. But and to be honest, I'm not massively bothered about the FA Cup this year. I'd like to win it, of course I would, but the Carabao Cup resets the trophy drought, and then the Europa League, I think we owe the Europa League one, really, after what happened with Villarreal a couple of years ago. So yeah, I've got a feeling that top 4, Carabao Cup and Europa League would be our season. And I tell you what, I'd love more than that. I'd bloody love more than that. But if you'd said to me at the start of the season, top 4 Carabao Cup and Europa League, I'd have been like a jack in a box. I'd have been a mark in a box. I'd have just popped up off my seat and been jumping around the room. I'll have that. 2 trophies in top 4. I'll take that because we deserve it at this moment in time. And I hope. Look, I saw Faz last night had a little clip of Martial coming out of the ground. I mean, there's no point in making any predictions about Martial, but can you imagine if we had Martial just fit for half of our games between now and the end of the season? I mean, I don't think we'll get that, but I know he's unreliable, and I know people have almost given up on him, but we can't do anything around the striker till the summer anyway, so anything we get out of Martial is a bonus. Imagine, I know I saw Barcelona fans quite rightly saying we missed Gavi, we missed Pedri, we missed Ousmane Dembele, and I don't disagree with that, but we missed Eriksen. We did miss Eriksen. Like, he's been one of our most important players, and Ten Hag loves Eriksen. We also have been playing up front with Weghorst, and all due respect to the lad, he runs around and he tries a lot, but Man United with Martial in that team is a better team. Ten Hag talks about it all the time. Imagine the fact that this team could be... And Sabitzer didn't play a minute last night as well, by the way. So, we have got some good players that can make a real big difference between now and the end of the season. But if we can get Martial back just for a little period of time, I think it would make a massive difference to Manchester United. I really, really do. And I hope that we can see him. Mate, what a game, says Patrick. The atmosphere seemed unreal. Do you know what lyrics are to the songs I keep hearing the crowd sing? I can't work it out, says Patrick. Depends which song it is, Patrick. There's quite a few. Emma Jones, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. I've got nearly 20,000 people watching this morning. I hope you're going to watch the Europa League draw we've got coming up for you as well. 11 o'clock. Arsenal and Roma could stop us winning Europa Cup. Do you think we will beat Liverpool away, says Darren? I haven't seen Scholes' Instagram post, but Tyler says it was funny coming from the man who wanted Poch and criticised Anthony so much. Connor says Martial hasn't played much all season, and it's a shame. I mean, look, you know me. I'm a massive champion of fan opinion. It's the thing that from day one that I built this channel off the lines of real fan opinion for real fans. And I don't like the word real fan, by the way. I don't like this. You're only a real fan if you've got a season ticket and you're from Manchester. I don't like real fan thing, but I mean real fans. Real fan opinion is it's about fan opinion, really. I'm a massive champion of that, and I think I think fan opinion is the most educated, passionate, and thought-provoking opinion because it matters. Your thoughts matter. I've been in and around mainstream media. I've been in and around some YouTube channels, and it's scripted. They're wearing headphones because someone's telling them, say something about Arsenal being shit, because that'll be a good clip for tomorrow. On mainstream media, it's scripted. Talk about this stat that we've just found for you. It's scripted. It's scripted. It's scripted. Whereas, you are hopefully not scripted. You're just interacting with a show and a channel that's, could talk for hours about the thing that we're passionate about. But the reason I sort of mention that is because it's always worth revisiting, isn't it? We had Ince on at the time. He didn't want Ten Hag. He wanted Poch. Gary Neville wanted Poch. I think Paul Scholes wanted... I think Keane wanted Simeone and somebody else wanted Simeone. And it was either Scholes or... I think it was Scholes who wanted Simeone as well. Teddy Sheringham, I think, wanted Poch. Ferdinand wanted Poch. No ex-player wanted Ten Hag, and most of them wanted Solskjaer to stay as well. So, look, your opinion's as good as anybody else's, and sometimes it's better. But the point is, Ten Hag was a fan appointment. Whether the club listened to the fans, I don't know. But it was a very resounding fear that the club would go with Poch, and they went with Ten Hag. And for whatever reason, I was actually told that the reason they picked Ten Hag was not because of fan opinion, because this club doesn't listen to fan opinion. That they wouldn't go, oh, look at the fans, they want Ten Hag. That's not how this club works. Fans by Ed Woodward often described the fans, according to someone at the club, as hysterical. This hysterical opinion that we don't take any notice of. I was told that the reason Ten Hag got the job was because his interview blew everybody out the water. His knowledge, his plan was down to fine detail, and he was obsessive and knowledgeable and just completely blew everybody else that they interviewed out of the water with his focus and determination. And one of the things they loved is he said, because this was really important to United, and there was a load of things, but one thing they loved in the interview was that he said, I will make Marcus Rashford the player he is now. They said, I will make Marcus Rashford the star of this team. I will make Marcus Rashford the superstar. I will get him playing like he did 2 years ago. And he has. And that was, that's music to the ears of Man United, because they thought they might be losing Rashford. He's a big asset. You've got to replace him. So Ten Hag got the job because he did an amazing interview, and he's done everything he said in that interview. He said he'd done it. And remember also, they didn't get him the players that he wanted. He wanted Nunez, he wanted Timber, he wanted De Jong. He didn't get any of those. So, he's still gone and got other players that in some ways have arguably been better. And Nick says, I just pray we get bought and get a young centre-back to learn and soak up the world-class mentality from Varane, Casimiro and Martinez. This is what we deserve. I really do think we do need a centre-back. I agree. Very impressed with Rahu. Definitely someone we should be on the lookout for in the future, says Axel. I don't think he's ever going to leave Barcelona. I think they've got a world-class centre-back there. Funnily enough, we were linked to him. About a year ago, I think he hadn't signed a contract, and we were linked to him. And I agree. I think he's a very, very good centre back. For me, he's a little bit similar to Saliba. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic, fantastic player. And I was very impressed with him across both legs. But look, there's being impressed and there's being put in the shade. And I think, like you say, Martinez and Varane especially were just absolutely magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Jordan Pickford signed a new contract at Everton. Great. I mean, there was rumour that Man United might be interesting. I mean, I don't know how... I've just read something here. There's actually a doctor on Twitter who's assessed the Rashford thing from what he's seen on TV and said that it looked like a cramp based on the physio treatment. And I'm not a doctor or a physio or anything like that, but sometimes I don't think you need to be. I think that the fact that he played on for a little bit, the fact that he went and sat on the side, I think that you've got to presume that he will play. Plus, it's a cup final where he's going to want to play at all costs. So I think we'll be all right in relation to Rashford at the weekend, if I'm honest. But he's going to want to play, isn't he? And let's be honest, the modern footballer, the modern athlete can do things to play games of football. I mean, I don't know the legality of it anymore, but, you can have an injection, a pain-killing injection. That's not illegal. I'm convinced he'll play. Because every part of him will want to play. It's like in the World Cup, isn't it? When you get injured, but you still play in the next game 3 days later, because they'll find a way of playing. What may need to happen with Rashford is he's going to need a break at some point. I think it raises a very good point. We spoke about Varane and him retiring from French international duty, and this can only benefit Man United in the immediate form. We're playing a game every 3.5 days, and then there's an international break where Varane's got 2 weeks off. Remember, Marcus Rashford is going to play a game every 3.5 days, and then he's going to go and play for England for 2 weeks. Bruno will be going to play for Portugal. So I saw someone in the chat say we've just got to get to that international break and then we can have a rest. There is no rest. In some ways, the intensity and work actually increases because you are flying around and playing international games. So it doesn't really. Look, Thogden's just sent me a picture of a mug. Where'd you get that? I love that. See, fantastic. Frankie de Jong and Casimiro together would be unreal, says Charlie. Charlie, you're a legend. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. I absolutely have got no problem in identifying Barcelona's role in two of the best games I've watched in years. I thought it was great. I stand by my opinion that La Liga is better. The Premier League is better than La Liga, and I would have stood by that anyway, even if we'd lost. But it was incredible to watch those two games. I preferred the Nou Camp game more. I've got to be honest, because I thought it was more impressive to go to their place and do it. And I stand by what I said as well. That there is no escaping the fact that Barcelona are top of La Liga by a considerable distance, and as well as that, they are also they've only conceded 7 goals in 22 games. We've just scored 4 goals against them in 2 games. We've scored more than 50% of the goals they've conceded in La Liga in 22 games in 2. What do you read into that? I don't know. But what I'm saying is they were fantastic performances from Manchester United. I think a lot of people had Barcelona as favourites. And we deserved to win. We deserved to win in the Nou Camp, and we deserved to win last night. There were dodgy decisions. I don't want to talk about those. At the end of the day, dodgy decisions or not, we still won and we deserved to win. But it wasn't a trouncing. I think Barcelona played their part in both games, and we've spoken about Araujo. I spoke about Frankie de Jong last night. Lewandowski's still a top striker, whether he's coming towards the end of his career or not. I thought that their left back was fantastic, the ferocious Baldi, or however you pronounce it. I thought he was brilliant as well. But you know what? I've always known about Frankie de Jong. I've seen him play for Barcelona before. I've seen him play for Ajax. I've seen him play for the Netherlands. But last night, I don't know about anybody else, but last night, maybe it was because he was playing at Old Trafford, I really did keep an eye on him, and he did stand out. I thought he played really well, and it's amazing that Ten Hag singled out Fred to man mark him, because Fred had a really good game in the second half. But I still think de Jong played well, even though Fred played well, and that can happen. Sometimes a centre back can play against a striker, and they can both have a brilliant game because it's just basically 2 players competing. It's like 2 boxers throwing punches at each other. But I saw in Frankie de Jong last night, and maybe because it's that Old Trafford pitch and your brain's starting to think, could I see him at Old Trafford in a Man United shirt? I don't know whether it'll ever happen, but I did see last night the obsession with Ten Hag and Frankie de Jong. I did see what it is. You could see Frankie de Jong next to Casimiro. He moves really quickly with the ball. He's defensively very good, but offensively he's very good as well. And I can see it. And, we should see it because, Ten Hag is a genius, of course. But I could really see it. It's the movement as well, says David, exactly. I thought he played absolutely fantastic. And, I was really, 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 really happy with him, of course. And I would welcome him at Manchester United. I really, really would. But look, whether we can do that deal or not, he loves Barcelona. But I'm sure if there's anything that can happen, we will. We'll try and move it on. I've already sung a song. And let me just sort this out. We are going to go live for the draw reaction. But would any of you not take Dion? I mean, maybe some people want something else. I think he's fantastic. I really do. And I thought I was very impressed with him last night. But Bellingham, Casido, we've still got Sabitzer. I think Fred was interesting last night as well. I mean, for me, Fred's the perfect... I'd almost be tempted to give Fred a new contract with 1 year left on his deal. It'll be very interesting what we do with Fred, because I still don't think Fred starts in a team that's going to win the league or win the Champions League. But I do think Fred's the perfect squad player. He almost comes into the Darren Fletcher mould. He comes into the John O'Shea mould. The player, that can be... that will still play, probably start 30, 40 games in a season, but ultimately when you put your best team out, maybe doesn't start. But he's so... Yeah, that's how I would describe. That's how I would describe him. I think he'd be perfect like that. I really do. But look, I'm not going to make that decision. He was brilliant last night. There's no doubt about that. The draw's coming up at 11 o'clock. I will push you over to the draw in a moment as soon as we're live on the draw, because we're not live yet on the other stream. So I will carry on here. Joshua says, I'd love to get Ferencváros. We could do with an easier draw given the amount of fixtures we've played recently. And who would you take, Casimiro or Frankie de Jong, says Avi. There's no need to take either. There's no need to take either because we've already got Casimiro, and I think it's about adding to that. So I think what we've got to look at at the next stage for Manchester United is who we take as the next player, really. Who becomes the next player for Manchester United in that sense. So I think Casimiro obviously is going to stay, and then Manchester United will be who we can bring in alongside them. So yeah, I don't need to choose between Casimiro and De Jong, really. I'm just a little bit confused why the draw hasn't started yet, because it should have started 5 minutes ago. Right, I'm going to push you over onto the draw and we'll get you live on that, because I don't know why it hasn't started, unfortunately. But we're going to go live on the draw stream now, and I will see you over there. Thanks everyone for watching, and let's have a look with the Europa League draw. We'll be over on the next stream. It'll push you over there. See you in a minute. It's not at 12 o'clock. It's in 5 minutes, mate.